On a quiet moonlit night in Puerto Rico, Luis was driving home from a late shift at work. The roads were empty, and the hum of his car's engine was the only sound piercing the stillness. As he approached a familiar curve, just a mile from his home, something caught his eye. A woman in a wedding dress, standing on the side of the road, her thumb out in the universal gesture for a ride. Curious and concerned, Luis slowed down and pulled over. The woman approached the car with a grateful smile. Her face was soft and kind, her eyes gleaming with a mixture of exhaustion and relief. "Thank you," she said as she slipped into the passenger seat, the fabric of her dress rustling like whispers in the dark. "I was beginning to think no one would stop." Luis nodded, trying to hide his bewilderment. "What happened? Why are you out here alone so late?" he asked, glancing at her as he continued driving. "My car broke down a few miles back," she explained, her voice steady yet tinged with sadness. "I was on my way home after a long night. I just wanted to get home." She paused, looking out the window at the passing trees. "My husband. We got separated and I couldn't find him. I hope he's okay." Luis offered a sympathetic nod, feeling a strange connection to the woman. They talked as he drove, sharing stories about their lives. She told him her name was Isabel and that she had always loved this part of the island. She seemed so alive, so real, that Luis almost forgot how strange it was to find a bride alone on the roadside in the dead of night. Before they knew it, Luis had pulled up to a small, charming house just down the road from where he had picked her up. The lights inside were dim, but the place had a welcoming air. Isabel smiled softly, her eyes misting over. "Thank you, Luis. I don't know what I would have done without your help." She opened the door and stepped out, turning back to wave as she walked up to the front door. "Take care." "You too," Luis replied, watching as she disappeared into the house. The encounter lingered in his mind for the next few days. Something about it just didn't sit right. 3 days later, unable to shake the feeling, Luis decided to stop by the house and check on Isabel. When he knocked on the door, an elderly woman answered, her expression curious. "Excuse me," Luis began. "I gave a woman named Isabel a ride here a few nights ago. She said this was her home. I just wanted to make sure she's all right." The old woman's face paled, and she clutched the doorframe for support. "Isabel," she whispered, her voice trembling. You must be mistaken. Isabel died 7 years ago. She was coming home from her wedding when she was in a car accident just down the road from here. She never made it back." Luis felt his blood run cold. The memories of that night flashed through his mind, the warmth of her smile, the way her dress had shimmered under the moonlight, the sadness in her voice. He had taken her home, just like she asked, but now, standing in front of that very house, he realized the truth. Without another word, he turned and walked back to his car, his heart pounding in his chest. To this day, Luis never spoke of that night again, but the memory of Isabel's soft smile and the mystery of her spectral presence remained etched in his mind forever.